I'm Eric Tessmer. We're here at Stubbs in Austin, Texas. I'm going to give you a quick run through my pedal board. First, before we even get started, got a badass case for it. Add a little extra foam and stuff to keep her all safe on the road. It's built by a case company in California called Get Off My Case, or GOMC. Alright, so the board itself is built by Relic Pedalboards in Los Angeles. The easiest way to go through it is just tell you how it flows through this thing. And first off, all these pedals are blacked out, not because I'm trying to keep secrets or anything, but because it's really distracting. So first to go into the tuner. The tuner comes through underneath, goes to this. This is an analog sundial. Feeds into this, which is, you know, an old fuzz face, and then into the tube screamer. That comes back down underneath, and we have a bunch of electro harmonics pedals. You have your Micro-Synth and two Pogs. And these are the remote switches for Pog 1, Pog 2, electric Mistress, and Micro-Synth. So then comes out from the Micro-Synth here. This is a loop. This loop runs the Univibe, because the Univibe sucks a bunch of tone when it's off. So I have it on a loop. Goes into the wah. From the wah, it goes into this splitter. This splitter, ABY, cuts it to two signals. From there, it goes into two separate delays, because on one amp bank, I like to have a little bit of slapback, and this is a rehoused Memory Man. This is a remote switch, and it runs my echoes and longer delays. This is a carbon copy in MXR. With that one, there's also as I said before, the electric Mistress under here. I think it's version V2 or 3. All right, so then when it comes out of the two delays and the electric Mistress, it comes along here and goes into a radial shotgun, is what it's called. So you can do one input into 4 outputs, or 2 inputs into 2 banks of stereo outputs. So that's what I've got going on here. So these 2 outputs are 2 VibroKings. This one's my Ewell 150, which I also use to run the Leslie. And this is just an auxiliary amp output, which I normally don't use. Speaking of the Leslie, this is the Leslie cable. The controls, my crossover for the Leslie is internalized, so there's just one cable running to the Leslie. And the controls for the Leslie are here. This is bypass, this is fast and slow. You can see on the underside here, they come up, and these are Leslie cables that run along here, and then the switches are over here. Everything's obscured under rat nests of cables, but it's actually pretty organized. All my wall warts are down here. I find that if they're up underneath by the pedals, I get a lot of hum, a lot of radio interference. Most of the 9-volt stuff is powered by a Joyo 2 power supply. This Hello Kitty is a step-down transformer to Japanese voltage to 100 volts instead of 120 for the Univibe. This fuzz face and this wah sound best on 9-volt batteries versus wall power. So this has an on-off switch on the volume pot, and this is the on-off switch for the wah's battery. All my cables are Cactus cables out of Llano, Texas. You see all these pedals are bolted down. You want as very little movement as possible. All these bolts are going into T-nuts. These are the stuff that's holding down the lower pedals on the underside. MXR style boxes, Hammond boxes if you will, are held on with longer bolts that run through the actual board and hold them in place. So you can actually lift this entire board by any of these pedals and they won't move. The reason for that is it cuts down on your maintenance. Cables wear out faster, your pedals break more, the more movement you have. So the more solid your pedals are, the less you'll have to deal with that stuff. That said, if you noticed when we had this up, the Micro-Synth is not working right now. So that's why there is a 1/4 inch union just bypassing it right now. These 1/4 inch unions, Switchcraft, I think the part number is 361A. They're great to have in your toolbox just in case something like that happens, so you can bypass stuff. We also use them for setting up Leslie's with combo amps. So that's it. Dig it.